So I've been looking forward to getting you back on because you were one of our first clients in the first concert we we haven't caught up for a few months.
No, we haven't.
Just with like being busy and stuff.
Yeah.
So for anyone who is not aware of who you are and what you're doing, where it comes from, who are you?
I'm Lauren. I own Smooth HR and we are a HR consultancy helping SMEs with all their HR and people needs. And our mission, I guess, is to achieve better business for everyone. And that's by making sure that, we empower employers to do the right thing in the business, but taking a human approach. But ultimately having the confidence to challenge, I think, which is really important. I think the balance has tipped slightly, post-COVID, potentially more in the favour of employees. Obviously, there's a lot of employment law changes coming up as well. And a lot of the business owners I meet, managing people as their weak spot. It's a thing that they don't like, they're not very confident in. So we just support employers to have that confidence to manage.
I've always gravitated towards that one liner. That's your business for everyone. Where did that step from?
I think it's just about understanding like that's actually genuinely what we want to achieve. So like I've always thought about like the one-sidedness from either side. So an employer, being too business focused and forgetting that there's humans working for them and we've all got our own lives going on. And then the employee side of things. So wanting everything their way without any understanding, I suppose, about the fact that the business needs to run. And I think having a business that's run with good leaders who are clear on their expectations but are human in their approach, it does mean better business for everyone. It means better conditions for employees, better prospects. If the business is making money, then that's the only way the team can make money. And then obviously better for the business owner because they've got everything under control and they've got people on their side, really. So I think having good HR in place and that good people management does achieve better business for everyone.
Love it. Remember back when I was a PT, previous life, and I was actually fit back then. You kind of like push towards like this, like naturally in fitness, from pricing towards like self-development routes. That sounds cliche these days. But back then, I didn't really know what self-development was or personal development was. And the first book I ever got given was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And it's kind of widely known as like the Bible of like early self-development.
Yeah.
It's like sort of early days. I read the book and it didn't really land with me. Like 7 habits, so I went back and read it again, kind of landed a bit more. And then I think I must have read it like 8 times now. The 7 habits are like one of them that always stands out when I hear that that's it. It's think win-win.
Yeah.
Because I was always kind of like, I've just got to win. I win. It's massive everyone else loses.
Yeah.
Like, what I realised in business, it is a case of like, the way we win is by helping everyone else with.
100%.
And in a business's case, and it's something I'm really interested in, actually, because I'm going to have to navigate this as we start to build the seatbelts and stuff. We'll get to that point. Is how do I make the environments and culture so cool to be it that I can win as a business owner, but also the staff can win as well. And actually create that great culture and not where the business wins, but they don't win, or they win loads of stuff, but I'm suffering.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? And it is all about that balance. But interestingly, I've been listening to, Love Emma Green's podcast, and she's had quite a few people on recently, and I can't remember the name of the guy that she interviewed, but like super successful. And he was talking about how it's his house, his business, and they're his rules. So you can go to his house and you can like his rules and thrive there. But ultimately, if you don't like his house rules, that's also fine. But it's his house. And like, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like post-COVID, when, rightly so, there was a shift and employees were gaining more power, which in some businesses is so crucial because there are businesses who are rogue employers who, are horrible to the staff. But there's a lot of very good business owners out there. I think what the problem is the lack of understanding of the team and the employees about what is needed for a business to thrive. And I think it's about sort of creating a culture that people are happy in. But ultimately, if people aren't happy in that culture, then maybe that's not the right environment for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, we all have to, we're all welcome, and like we were speaking about before, we're all welcome and will thrive in certain environments. Where if you join a business and that environment isn't for you, then that's not the business for you. So I think it's about achieving that balance. So obviously wanting to create that culture that people do thrive in, but not trying to people please and make it amazing for everyone. Because I know this is really controversial, but at the end of the day, it is a job and it is work, and it's not always going to be amazing. Like, we're not always going to go to work and be like, this is the best place on earth. And I think the more we all start to be a little bit more clear about that, and a bit more clear in our expectations, like, you know, I go to work, I expect this from a business. Okay, well, this business doesn't offer that, so I'm just going to move on. And the employers being clear about why they're making them decisions, because that is half the problem. An employer will make decisions with the best intentions, but they don't communicate it properly. So then everybody's like, oh, so what? That perk's just been taken off us. What the business owner hasn't communicated is that if we still carry on paying for that perk, you're not going to have a job next year. So it's like, it's communication, I think, is like the biggest thing that
for sure
is lacking.
Yeah. I mean, from a business, I don't think I've ever met a business owner who's gone out to maliciously harm their own staff.
Never.
I don't think I've ever.
Well, I haven't.
I don't think I've ever come across that.
I've met idiots in work, obviously, and some people are just not particularly nice people. And
I've met people that aren't particularly cut out for it.
Yeah.
Like, I talk a lot about ideas. I talk a lot about everyone has a great idea. Everyone can build a big idea.
Yeah.
But actually, some people have a great idea, but they can't. They're not the right person for that idea. And some people are better suited to being someone's right hand man. Yeah. Some people are better suited to kind of lower level work, and that's okay. Yeah. Some people like doing the 9 to 5 stuff. Yeah. And I think that's like something I've had to navigate as someone who's like, it's really interesting what you say there. I mean, even as a business owner, you start the business because you love what you do. Yeah. And you want to do it. And generally you've got it's a bit of a passion project for you. But just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean every day is going to be fucking rosy every day. It's going to be hard fucking days. Of course. And it doesn't come without its like sleepless nights. And there's a lot to be said about, like, you know, we kind of, I mean, I definitely did give a go up. It's like, what can you get from the company? Like, what salary do you get? What perks do you get? What's the holiday pay? Like, what's all this and that? But you never ask the question, what are you contributing to the company? Mm-hmm. Like, how are you making yourself more valuable to them? Yeah. To the point where they would pay above and beyond to keep you. Yeah. And I always found that like a really interesting dynamic, especially as I've evolved and learned more as a business owner, and obviously made my own mistakes and had the sleepless nights and all that kind of stuff. But how do you navigate that, like, as someone who's a decision maker? I think it's hard because it's a society problem. I think we're not, especially in the UK, like one of me and my clients have spoken about this, we're not sort of geared up to like celebrate everybody else's success. So I find that the clients that I've got or had, the businesses that I've worked with, when they start to be successful, they've came from nothing as well. And sometimes the employees can be a bit demanding in terms of like, well, you know, the business owner might have a new car or might start like earning, bringing loads of money into the business, and they're thinking like, well, I should, you know, I deserve a bigger chunk of that or whatever. But I think it's two-sided. I think it's the problem with society that we just don't celebrate success in that way. And secondly, maybe as business owners, we're not clear and transparent enough about the struggles that has led to that place. So yeah, you may have done a great piece of work that's won the business, you know, a big job or whatever, but you aren't panicking every month making sure you meet everybody else's payroll, which I've seen some business owners do. Oh, yeah. You don't bear that. You know, you can go home at 5 o'clock and switch off. You haven't got that heavy burden that then business owners carry. And I think maybe we're just not very transparent about that. Maybe everyone likes talking about success because we want other businesses who maybe use our services to think that we're successful and we've got everything together. But I see so many business owners who on the surface may look great, but you know, they're just treading water beneath and they're struggling, but they just
And they're not going to open up to the staff about that because they don't want to put that burden on them either.
100%. I mean, I obviously won't mention any names. I know someone who's a business owner who's going through an issue. Correct me if the terminology's wrong, you'll know this.
Go on.
Is it like disguised employee or an accidental employee where someone gets taken on as a freelancer, but they're doing so many hours, they can't physically. So they got the contract of the freelancer, but they're doing so much work for the company that they can't take on other work. But they're not getting any of the perks of like the holiday pay and all that kind of stuff. I know there was a dispute. Yeah. Between the guy.
Which is really common.
It's really common. But there is actually a thing, I can't think what it's called off the top of my head. I think it's like disguised employee or like he was basically doing like something like 35 hours a week. Yeah. As a freelancer. And he was like, well, I can't take on any other work. So I want a contract. I'm getting paid for it. So can you give me a contract? But the employer didn't want to, he was like, well, I don't need you all the time. Like, I'm giving you the work, but I don't need. And the employer was actually in the right in this case, I thought. I don't know whether he settled it. I don't know the full extent of it, but he was basically saying he couldn't do any work for another company. He couldn't do other freelance work outside of the hours he was doing. Yeah. And he said he wanted to be as part of the company, and he was like, I can't give you a full-time contract because the work's I think what it was like a project. Yeah. And when the project finished, he wasn't doing it anymore. But during that project, he couldn't take on any more work. Yeah. He was like, well, you're getting paid for it. I paid you on time every time. So it's stuff like that, I think, that like people like me actually will have to navigate more of, because if I'm honest, I didn't get into it to do payroll and manage a team but it's something you do have to take on as a business owner and learn more of. And I'm curious to learn more about it because it's not something that I have really had much experience in, really. And it's hard, isn't it? Because obviously I've made a profession, a career, a business out of this. I've studied it. It's not information that you should just know, but you are expected to just know these things. Yeah. And I think I'm a big believer when you are setting up a business or, you know, you're running a business, whatever, like things that you don't know, just leave to the experts, because I've done it myself. You know, I'm not particularly techie. So before I had like my third client, I'd already taken on a VA because I knew that was something that was going to be a stumbling block to me and a barrier. And I've got no interest in learning about how to work Microsoft Word. Like, I am a bit of a tech dinosaur. Yeah. It was my biggest frustration because they were the blockers. I just wanted to do my work and what I'm good at. Yeah. And they were the things that were going to get in my way. And I think it's the same for HR, isn't it? That dynamic as well, like the fact that Sophie's came into that business, like your business, and she's become, like what we just said, she's contributed so much that's become invaluable. Of course. And like, I think. But that dynamic, I see you girls on LinkedIn, and I see you get the dynamic between you girls. And it's so refreshing to see. Yeah. The team that's pulling in the same direction. And I love that. Because you know what is refreshing about Sophie as well? She was the only person when I'd put the job out to message me and say, do you know what, I've seen we're in the same building, do you want to grab a coffee? And I was like, this is the person I need. I want somebody who's going to not just sit and wait for everything. Like, I've interviewed before and, you know, I offer flexible working, and somebody said, I said, oh, well, you know, why do you want to work for Smooth? And they said, well, I've got dogs at home, so I'd like to be able to work at home, and I can see you offer flexible working. And I was like, you're meant to be like telling me that you really want to work here because you love HR or because you really want to get, not because like this job fits in with your lifestyle. I've got 2 kids, let alone dogs, and I don't get to work from home with my kids every day. 100%. They're in nursery while I'm doing this. So I was a bit like, and Sophie was so refreshing in terms of, you know, she uses her initiative. She understands, which I think a lot of people don't, to be honest, how a business runs. So I am so flexible with Sophie, but I know that I'm getting it back. Yeah. And I know that she will do what needs to be done. And that's creating that win-win. Of course, then exactly. I'm winning and she's winning. Yeah. I will be as flexible with her as she needs, providing I know that, you know, if the time comes when I need her in the office for 4 days straight, she's going to be there and she's not going to quibble over it. Yes. And it just works for both of us. And I think having her positive attitude and my
attitude towards work generally, it is better business for everyone, because obviously as Smooth grows, she will grow.
I found it a really interesting dynamic with social media as well. When, as a business owner, if you go back 20 years when we were growing up, however long it was, you look at it and go, a business owner wouldn't have to be front and center. You wouldn't know the CEO of a big business was back then.
No,
they wouldn't really be seen.
That's very true.
I remember working for a housing company. I don't even know this. I was an architect for 6 years, leaving school, and I worked for this housing company. And I think I met the CEO twice in 6 years. And even the employees of the company were he was a bit of a mysterious sort of aura around him, because he was this guy that no one ever seen. But now the dynamic's changed so much that you're seeing these CEOs building personal brands, like the Elon Musks of the world, of front and center, Zuckerberg, all these even high-powered women, Mel Robbins and all these podcasters and things. They are front and center, and what these people are realizing, even if you watch reality TV, my missus loves reality TV, and
I do, to be.
I mean, you watch it, but all them, they're realizing that they don't have to be put into contracts with TV companies anymore. They're going to YouTube, building personal brands, owning all their own media, building teams. And for that reason, I always think if you think about I'm a Celeb with Anton Deck, Anton Deck probably the biggest TV presenters. If you ask someone who's 15 who Anton Deck were, you know who Mr. Beast is. But Anton Deck might get 1 million, 2 million views on I'm a Celeb on an average night.
Yeah.
And that's the top end. They could go on YouTube and I guarantee they get that on a podcast.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I always think the human, the future of business is human led.
Yeah.
Because it's the human that's driving. You watch I'm a Celeb for Anton Deck being funny on it.
Yeah, of course.
Or you watch Made in Chelsea because there's an interesting dynamic between these two people.
Yeah.
It's not for the thing itself. And then what they're realising is we don't need the big companies, so we can do this ourselves and own all our own stuff. The point I'm trying to get to is, I think there's a human-led element to that.
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely a creator-led element to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at creator-led businesses or human-led business. If you're a business owner now, as opposed to 20 years ago, you are literally signing up to be a content creator, a digital marketer, a friggin' salesperson, a sales rep for your own business, you're a networker,
HR manager.
You're doing all these things. You spin all these plates, and at some point you go, someone's got to give you.
Yeah.
And at that point, you go, well, I'm gonna have to ring Lauren because I've got a couple of freelancers here and I don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
Or I've got I need to build a team and I don't know what frameworks to put in place. I need to ring Lauren, or I need to ring Adam. He's talking about exits.
Yeah.
Or I need to ring Carmel or whoever.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think you just look at it and go, the business owner now has got so much more on his plate, literally.
Yeah.
Than what you did probably 20 years ago. You were probably just doing your job.
Exactly. And I think that's so true, because you are expected to do everything, and then employment laws changing so much over the next couple of years. The first changes are coming in April. That's making it really tough to be an employer. And I think, people would sort of just wing it really previously, but now it's not really going to be an option, and it's hard. And I think the most satisfying thing about our the work that we do is being able to see an employer be like, oh God, I've got this staff issue, or I'm taking on another 5 staff, what do I do? And for us to just own that and take it away. And because we are so human led, we look at everything from the human side and the bigger picture. So I wouldn't give one client the same advice that I would give another, for example, because I know the personalities, I know what they want. It's important to us to understand where that business is going, how, what's going on in that business owner's life, because sometimes I might say, well, listen, you could do this, but given how much I know you've already got going on in your personal life or in the business, I think you better just cutting your losses now and taking this route or whatever. Might cost you a bit more, but I think that's the best route. And we're not kind of that scripted service where we're just well, do this or don't do that, and we're not risk averse. We are really confident in challenging both sides. I've got absolutely no problem with challenging employees, but I would have no problems sitting in a room with 10, 50-year-old male chief execs and challenging them either, because it's important that you have that confidence to challenge people's, like, the status quo, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, so I suppose the right decision isn't always the easy decision.
No, it's not. It very rarely is, to be honest. And I think it's just about knowing your strengths as well as a business owner or a people manager. Like,
when you've got like a hard-nosed businessman and his CEOs and his financial officers sitting in a room, and you're sitting there going like, this is the right thing to do, and they're all like, that's a fucking hard dynamic to deal with, right?
Yeah, but we've seen so much that we're confident enough that what we're telling you is the right thing to do. Do you know what I mean? And I think that is, I suppose, the beauty of consultancy. We've worked with hundreds of businesses, different business owners, different situations. I don't want to say we've seen it all, because things still do shock us every day. But it's good to have different insight from different industries. Like, we might see things in the electrical industry that we know is happening, which makes us understand another client's needs better. Or like the creative industry or whatever. And it's just about putting that human side to things. Like, AI is a big thing now, obviously, and is going to take over like a lot of sort of first level HR advice. But me and Sophie were laughing about this the other day, because giving somebody the advice about what to say is the easy thing, really. Them delivering it is the hard thing. So you might get an AI tool that you can type in, I've got an employee who's off sick or whatever, what shall I do? It can tell you what to do, but it can't guide you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It's about giving people the confidence.
100%. And I think people will lean more into human connection as a result of that. I mean, I was listening to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on the Joe Rogan podcast last week. They were talking about AI, and they were saying, like, you could prompt an AI tool to like write a script, but by its nature, it always goes to the mean. So it always goes to like the middle center ground by its nature, and it's a bit of a people pleaser. So if you put something in,
I didn't know that until last week.
It kind of agrees with everything you say.
It's biased to you, isn't it?
So I said to it, I was looking for like camera stuff. So the cameras we're using now, was basically trading 2 of these cameras in for better cameras, and I was like saying, I need one that's going to last for like potentially a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah. And
I know that it's not going to break down. I know it's not going to overheat or this and that. And you give me a list of like cameras. And I said, well, the list, on the list of cameras that you give me is the one that I've already got. And it overheats after about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And sometimes it won't cut out, but it'll stop and you have to like repress record. And I was like, oh yeah. Sorry. And it was trying to please me.
Yeah.
It was just giving me answers that I thought that I wanted to hear. And I was like, well, actually, I don't have any confidence in it anymore, because the camera that it's told me is the one I've already got. That's not the one I'm trying to trade out.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just doesn't make it. Anyway, Ben Affleck was saying, when he was writing film scripts, it always goes to the mean. So it could never, if you told us some like a really emotional thing about like your wedding day and you wanted to write a script about it, and it was something that's really close to your heart that no one really knows and can't really capture the emotion of it, it's like, how's AI going to do that?
Exactly.
It can't do that.
And I didn't know until Sophie mentioned last week, actually, about the bias thing. So interestingly, the tribunal claims have gone up by something like 30%. And I spoke to a commercial solicitor that I work with. He was saying that the judges are starting to get really annoyed because they're just getting all these claims in. So this is in the commercial sector, but the same is happening in the employment tribunals. They're just getting all these claims in that have just been written by ChatGPT.
Oh my God.
And it's so funny, because if you put in like, my employer's done this or whatever, it will be biased towards you, and it'll say, yeah, you've definitely got a case. But then if the employer put in, I have done this to my employee, was I wrong or whatever, they're like, no, you're not, you're right. So you're getting two of the same story, but from different perspectives, and it's pleasing both of them. So then everyone thinks they've got a case. So the employee thinks, oh, I've got a case here. The employer thinks, I can easily defend this. So it's dangerous, isn't it, when you think about it, and nothing's authentic anymore.
And in the process of doing this, it's so stressful for the employer and the employee, because they both think they've got a case. So stressful that it could potentially fucking ruin your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could potentially fucking really damage you. It's mad.
And the law side of things. So interestingly, we've had a lot of people say recently, just like people that we've spoken to have said, oh, we used just AI to like develop our employment contracts or our policies or whatever.
Yeah.
But AI doesn't focus solely on UK employment law. It pulls in law and like case law from either other law that's not relevant to employment law
100%.
or other like
100%.
non-UK employment law. So like people are drafting these contracts that have absolutely no legal standing in the UK. And then obviously they're taking these to tribunals and the judge will just be like, why have you got a contract that is like American employment law? But the dangers of that is, as an employer, if you are downloading contracts from the internet and reading them and applying them, you're applying them rules or that guidance because you think it's right. So you're dealing with things that you miseducating yourself.
It's funny, you know, like with the AI stuff, because even with like what we do, AI is becoming quite big. And to the point where ChatGPT brought out this thing called Sora, which is it's like a AI TikTok basically.
Oh really?
You just scroll through and it's just all AI videos. So you can prompt it to make a video, but whatever you want, and it'll make the video. And so some of it's funny, like some of the stuff it does. You can put like the Queen in the UFC or whatever.
But don't you think now, like it was sort of because everything's AI, like we're losing like authenticity and we're losing kind of like we're almost creating this really false.
You can't go on LinkedIn. If me and you just pulled our phone out now and went on LinkedIn, I would say 85% of what you'll see is ChatGPT generated. And the funny thing is, they're not even trying to hide it.
But you know what I think is also quite interesting? I was writing something myself the other day because I would never use ChatGPT for my posts because I want it to be authentic.
Yeah.
But I am now starting to write like that because I must be absorbing all the writing style of LinkedIn is now so AI that when I'm writing myself, I am like subconsciously writing in that style.
Me and Alex were talking about this, right? So we are considering putting into our T's and C's that if you post any content from the content room, it can't be AI generated.
Yeah.
Because we want to keep that element of real, raw, authentic content.
Yeah.
So it's me. So some people have said to us, without mentioning any names, they said, aren't you worried that like you could be able to like basically AI generate podcasts in the future and you basically mean you could have this interview without you physically being here? And I said no, because the value of you doing this podcast is you being in the room with me having the conversation. And the fact that me and you have this conversation this time last year, and now we're having it this time last year, and all the work we've done in between, that's built up such a level of like respect and trust.
Of course.
That we wouldn't have that if it was all. If I rang you and said, Lauren, I want to do a podcast with you, but I'm going to AI generate it, your voice. I just need you to send me like a 20-second voice note so I can clone your voice and I'll write the script.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, back off.
I know. And like, I think it's sort of creating like a bit of a false world where everybody thinks they're an expert in everything now. Like, everybody can do anything because you can be a marketer, you can be a HR professional because you can pretend you know something that you've just learned off the internet.
Goes back to that thing of like the path of least resistance as well. It's like no one, like it's so interesting what you say at the start about like people aren't willing to wait for anything.
Yeah.
It's like I could take this podcast, right? I could edit it in using AI in about less than an hour.
Yeah.
I could stick it in Opus Clip or whatever and it'll generate me 20 sound bites for podcast straight away. But it'll be generic shite.
Yeah.
That isn't the bits that I want. It's got the same captions as everyone else. And it's just a time-saving effort. So when people do that, I've got no problem with people doing that because it's like most businesses aren't, content's not top of the priority list.
Yeah.
Of things to do on the task list. Hence why they hire people like us. But it's one of them things where I don't want the content to be pigeonholed into that. I don't know, like it's a real confliction for us because we want to use AI tools to assist us and help us and make our workflows better and frameworks better.
Yeah.
But our business is built on people. And I want to, like the whole point of content and putting yourself out there is to build a brand, an authentic, real, personal, human, creator-led brand.
Same. And I think like same for HR consultancies. There's hundreds of HR consultancies.
But if you got 100 HR consultancies and 85 of them are doing ChatGPT generated posts, thinking it's, you know, it's saved me an hour of my time today because I've not had to write this post out. That in itself, it gives the barriers to entry to anyone who's crap, basically, who just writes their own post.
Yeah,
is so like is such an advantage to them people.
Yeah, and I think that's where though, if you are, authentic and you are an expert in your field, people want you. They don't want, because like I say,
I'm not going to hire smooth HR because it's smooth HR. I'm hiring it because I've got a relationship with you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and like that's what sells, isn't it? You're selling the skills and the expertise and the mastery that you bring to something. Because like all my clients could go and pick hundreds of other HR consultants, but they've got the relationship with me.
Yeah. Once you get to a certain level, like there's other content companies out there that can do what we do at the same level. Like you, in theory, go out, set up your own studio, same cameras.
Yeah.
Like everything's available at your fingertips. You can go on Amazon and buy it all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm giving away all my secrets here. Don't do that.
Don't worry, I definitely won't.
Don't go and spend 20 grand on it. But in theory, you could.
Yeah.
And you do it all yourself. But the thing is, you wouldn't, because you're a HR girl.
Yeah.
Like, you do that.
Yeah.
That's your thing. And you want to do that. You don't necessarily want to be the content creator side of it. But if you're going, right, I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on ChatGPT. I'm going to give it a picture of myself. I'm going to ask it to make a video with that picture. And it's going to be just some generic spiel that you're going to generate.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
I know. And I just think like it is just making everything too available. And like we were talking earlier about like the discomfort. Like nobody can stand being uncomfortable. Like
if you, as a hypothetical for you, if you had some really sort of interesting case going on with a client, and you came out of this meeting and you had a great win, and you just quickly wanted to jump on your phone and just share an insight to that thing. Do you know what? We've had a great win today. Blah, blah, blah. Feel really good. It's been going on for months. We finally got a resolution. I'm really happy with the outcome. How can ChatGPT make that any better?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just you. What the emotion that you would feel in that moment of joy and just getting on there and being like, do you know what? We've had a great win. This is a great win for the company, great win for the clients, Like, you can't recapture that.
No, you
nothing
can't.
Can recapture that.
But I think it's also like, it is an advantage then to us, isn't it? Because if we're doing things differently and we are being authentic, it's like with the kids, like I'm so strict with my kids. They're only nearly 2 and 3. But I'm so strict with them. Like Harry, my eldest, he's not really a tantrum baby, to be honest. He never has been. But even when he is, I am literally like, oh, you can cry. You can literally be crying for an hour. You still not get him. If I've said no, I've said no. And I've been listening to a few podcasts lately about like the problem with the world in the sense of like parents can't cope with any sort of discomfort anymore because we're not used to it, because everything's at our fingertips like in life. But I am doing them things with the kids and I am really strict with them about stuff. Like, not like, I always laugh and say that we'll be like the Von Trapp family. I'm obviously a loving mother. I'm obsessed with them.
Did you, before you became a parent, did you think you'd be like that?
Yeah, I did. I think because I think, things aren't always comfortable, but I don't want to raise kids into adults that don't want to work for anything and can't be bothered and can't stand any, because I actually think that's where like a lot of anxiety is stemming from.
It's funny, isn't it? Because the trajectory, like me and you were in our businesses, and probably quite similar age, similar business, like sort of size and stuff. You look at it and go, realistically, as they do grow up, they are going to have a bit more money than some people would. Yeah. In a sense, they are going to live quite comfortably, like in terms of a family unit.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep it. So actually, before I became a parent, I always thought I would be the strict one.
Yeah.
Actually, and Becky would be the soft one. And actually, it's the other way. Becky's more on it. Becky's more like herself.
I'm definitely the strict one.
I'm a bit more like,
But do you know what? Do you know why I'm doing this?
Around the edges, yeah.
Do you know why I'm doing this though? Is because in the world that we are and the society that we are living in, where everything's totally accessible, I want my kids to stand out. I want them in the workplace when they're older, whether they have their own business, get a job, whatever. I want people to be like, wow, they're so different than every other kid, because they don't think everything just grows on trees. Like they know and they're going to work for it. And if every child is being so spoiled, and I want my kids to be them people that stand out, because it's in adult life. I see it in so many businesses where, you know, grown adults are so entitled in work, and I think, but you're not willing. You want what the business owner has, but you're not willing to put the work in that they do.
They want the view, but they don't want the climb.
Yeah, and I just don't want my kids being like that.
You know what's funny? You know, like, I mean, one, couldn't agree more, 100%. But secondly, like, all the value, like what I just said there about if you get a great win with a client and you're excited at the end of it, that moment, that win is quite fleeting.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, work starts again.
Yeah.
But all the value for that win is not in the win itself. All the value is in all the work leading up to it.
Yeah. Do you follow Spencer Matthews?
Yeah.
He said that. So he's obviously, like, you know, got the ability to give his kids whatever, and he doesn't, because he says that he wants his kids to understand the joy that comes after sacrifice. And if he gives them everything, which he's perfectly, you know, he's multi-millionaire or whatever, he said, like, my kids are never going to know the joy that comes after true, like, grit and sacrifice. And that's why he's doing all their marathons and stuff. It is tough.
Adult world is tough.
So tough.
Like, every day there's someone trying to fuck you or stab you in the back or do something shitty to you or start gossiping about, like, always something.
Yeah.
Even inside your business where none of that's going on, there's something going wrong. There's a client that needs your help. There's something always happening. Yeah. 24/7.
There's a cost of living crisis, like affording to live.
Like, if I'm gonna finish work at 5:30 tonight, then I'm gonna go home. I've got the kids.
Yeah.
For 2 hours, and then I'm gonna go to the match, and then I've got to come back, and then work starts at 6:30 again tomorrow morning. Then I've got to take Charlie to nurse. Not 1 second of the day is easy.
Yeah.
To navigate.
Yeah.
And if kids are just going to be there, like, you know, just thinking everything just gets handed to them, it's just not the way it works.
It's funny,
but it's funny, you know, because, like, my mum and dad were great with us, and I love mum and dad dearly, and we're still that close now.
Yeah.
And I look at it and go, I was very lucky in a sense that my mum and dad were like that, but they were very flexible with me. They didn't put much restraint on us. They let us do stuff. They weren't that strict, really. Like, when I think about, they were, but when I think about growing up, it wasn't like super, like, task orientated and stuff.
Yeah.
And I purposely have to step outside my comfort zone now. So I step into discomfort all the time.
Yeah.
So I go to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
I just put myself out there all the time. But it comes to a point where it's like that discipline that you have is not discipline anymore because you love doing it.
Yeah.
So I come to work, it's really hard every day, but it's in a really counterintuitive sort of way.
Yeah.
It's not, I choose that hard.
Yeah, because you like the joy from the sacrifice, don't you? Funny, Harry, the nursery called me on Friday, so I just got to the office and they were like, you're going to have to come and pick Harry up. He's saying his foot's sore. And I was like, his foot's not sore. He's just wants to spend the day with me. So I was like, he'll be okay, you know? And they were like, no, you're going to have to come and pick him up. So I had to go and pick him up. And he was in the car and he was like, oh, can we go home now? And I went, oh no. I said, you're coming back to mummy's office. And he was like, what? And I was like, is your foot really sore or did you just want to be with mummy today? And he started laughing at, you just wanted to be with mummy, didn't you? And he went, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, but mummy's working. So you're going to come to the office. And he was fuming because I was like, there's no toys in the office, you know, you're better in nursery. Do you want to go back? No. And I was like, okay. So I come back to the office and I made him sit in the office with a piece of paper and half a broken crayon that I'd found on the car floor. And he was like, have you got this? Have you got that? And I was like, no, just going to have to sit there and get on with it while I work. And I was just like laughing because Sophie was there with us. But I was like, no, if I take him home now and he plays with his toys, he's going to think, oh, wait there, I'll just say I'm sick again. And my mum will come 100%. And pick me up and then I'll take him home. So I am really like so strict with my kids because you know what? Like when he's older and he's an adult, I want him to be like, do you know what? Today's going to be a tough day. I don't want to go to work today, but I've got to go.
100%.
Do you know? And I know that's really deep, but
100%.
I just see it play out in the adult world with work so much. I think so much of like this lack of resilience and stuff has come from like, just like we were saying, just the total inability to be uncomfortable.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
And it's the same with business owners.
So Harry just turned 5.
Oh.
Bless him. And he's like, I can't even describe to you how cool he is now. Like, just the best thing about being like having a son. Just watching him grow into that. But we got him a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
For his birthday, and he loves it.
Oh.
But I've downloaded the app on my phone. Doing a parental lock.
Oh yeah.
So I put it on for an hour. So an hour a day.
Yeah.
Lad.
That's so good that they do that.
Yeah. So it's an app. So I get notified if he goes over it. Like
you can just turn it off.
No, it goes into sleep mode.
Oh, amazing.
So you need the code to like disable the parental control, and I'm the only one who's got it on my phone.
So what do you do? So just think about this for me. Like if you'd had a really stressful day in here and you came home, and he was like, "I want more than an hour," would you give in?
Nope.
That's so good.
No. So in the morning, he used 26 minutes. I said, "Well, when you come home, you've only got 34 minutes left."
Yeah.
Because
you've used it.
You've used it now, and if you use it all before school, you're allowed.
Yeah.
But if you use it, it's all going to be gone after school.
Yeah.
So we done 26 minutes, and he was like, "I'll leave it. I want to play it later." But when it runs out, he kind of sees his arse a little bit. He like kind of spits his dummy out. And at that point, it would be quite easy. Just go, yeah, go on, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. And on the weekend, if he's like really good and he's, like does everything he needs to do, I'll say to him, you can have a little bit extra.
Yeah.
But I'll play it with you.
Yeah.
So it run out on Saturday morning at like 11 o'clock.
Oh no.
But I did feel a bit for him because I was playing it a little bit.
Yeah.
It is addictive. You just get on it. And so we're like, right, we're going to go to the beach. He's like, I don't want to go to the beach. I want to play me Nintendo. I was like, no, we're going to the beach. So we get to the beach and we're walking around the marine lake, and it's not raining, but it's like windy and it's splashing us around the marine lake. And we pushing like the in-laws there. And I was like, they were pushing. I was like, we can't see Charlie and his pram around here. It's like, it's like splashing him. So we get on the beach and just start like walking around with the dogs running around. And we look at Hilby Island. And he's like, that's it. Is that England? And I was like, yeah, that's Hilby Island. So there's like Little Eye and then Hilby Island. So we start walking. And I was like, it's a long way, It's like it looks close, but it's quite a long way. And so we're walking, and I could see Becky in the background with mum and dad getting further and further away. And I'm like, oh. I was like, Harry, we're going quite far, He's like, yeah, it's an adventure.
Oh.
I was like, it's really far. It was like, how many steps do you reckon it is? It was like 100 more steps. And it was like probably like 10-minute walk. So we're walking and finally get there onto Little Eye. And I was like, there's the mountain. It's only like a little bit of rock or whatever. So we get to the top of the mountain. I got the video on my phone. It's amazing. And I was so proud of him for that because he wouldn't. I said, I'm not carrying you. I said, if we're going to walk there, you're going to walk the whole way. And I'm not carrying you. And he walked the whole way. And I was never proud of him. So anyway, and we looked over to Hilbury. So between Little Eye and Hilbury, it's probably a 10-minute walk. And I was like, Harry, we can't go to Hilbury because all the water is in between. Yeah. The tide's coming in. And we got to go now. And luckily there was another guy with his daughter and his wife. And turned around to walk back. The tide was going in, like literally circle the whole island. I was like, oh.
Scary.
The guy got his daughter on his shoulders. I said, Harry, get on my shoulders now. Literally got the water. The water was up to there. It started coming up literally up to my waist. So Harry was on my shoulders, straight through the water. I was wringing wet. Harry found it hilarious. I was like, my phone. I couldn't even get my phone out of my pockets or anything. And then there was like an old woman, and when I say old, she was probably about 80, with like a 50-year-old daughter or whatever, walking about 100 yards behind us. And I was like, shit, I'm going to have to go back in and save my eye. Shit. So we get to the edge of the water, and luckily, like 5 minutes more, we would have been done. We would have had to get the lifeguard.
Oh my God.
And I was shouting to him, you're all right, you come back. I said to the guy, you're going to have to take Harry off here because the water's coming in. But I was so proud of him for that, because it was like, we could have just stayed and just done the easy thing, go on Nintendo, and it's raining outside. But we walked there the whole way. And they're the lessons that I think will last him long term, because that sense of enjoyment, that little face that he had at the top
Yeah.
of that mountain after the long walk, and he didn't ask for the caddy or anything. I was just so proud of him for that, because it's just, he had that enjoyment of like, oh, my legs are hurting.
Yeah.
You know, you're on an adventure. But then he got to the top of the mountain and he was like so happy.
Yeah.
And I'm just really intent on doing more stuff like that with him over time. That bit of a long story.
Yeah,
short,
no, but it's all important, isn't it? Because
it feeds into it, because
it does. It feeds into adult behaviour. Like, it's like the discipline and doing things that you don't like. I think I grew up with, like, my dad was pretty much quite black and white. So he was like, you know, you've got to go to work. It is what it is. So if you want to make money, you've got to go to work. And it was just black and white, no sick days in our house. And I think, yeah, like, obviously I'm a lot more understanding and empathetic of people who can't come to work for whatever reason. Like, it's absolutely not black and white, but it's given me personally a discipline to be like, well, I've still got to show up. And it's been invaluable for me as a mother when my kids are awake until 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't let that client down the next day. I couldn't ring the client and say, I had a rough night with the baby last night, so I won't be coming in. It's just never happened. I've always gone. And do you know what? As much as I've literally been crying sometimes in the morning, thinking like, how am I going to do this meeting on no sleep? But, you know, just showing up, like, you get it done, don't you? And then you just always feel better for it. And you think, like, that's the resilience that so many business owners show constantly, but that is not, they don't talk about enough. So I think, like, that transparency around, yeah, we are doing really well as a business or a business owner, whatever, but this is all the sacrifice that I have made to get here. And you never know. Like, I know one of my clients who wasn't taking a salary, but she was paying 5 of her staff. They don't see them things because she's not going to tell them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think business owners probably could do with a bit more credit when it comes to 100%. Things like this, and I don't think we talk about it enough.
100%. I think if you've got Paul, who's like ruthlessly ambitious, and yourself, who's like on it, intent on being great parents, but intent on having a good, successful life, same as us.
Yeah.
They will learn through that osmosis, like patterns.
Yeah.
Like they will pick it up.
But it's going to be painful though, isn't it? Because I feel like I am trying.
It's really hard because, like, what are we working for?
Yeah.
Like at the heart of it, I'm working to provide us a good life.
Yeah.
That's it.
Of course.
And essentially, we're all custodians to our business, because at some point in time we won't be running our business anymore.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a question I navigate, like, battle with all the time. Like, what am I doing it for? Like what is the point where I get to where the kids are taken care of, the house is taken care of?
Yeah.
There's a purpose bigger than ourselves, like, longer term. But what do I want to do with the business? Do I want to pass it to Harry? Do I want to get into a point where he's capable enough as a grown man to run a business like this?
Yeah. Maybe
the business model won't be around in 20 years time, who knows? But
yeah.
I'd like to give him the skill set. If one thing was lasting with the kids, is, does he have the skill to live an adult life as a decent person
and thrive,
and capable person?
But it's hard, isn't it? Because I feel like I'm trying as a parent to go against the grain. I'm at, like, the kids, they use an iPad on holiday, but they don't have one in the house. I turn the telly off. I let them cry if they want their own way. I don't give in, and like, I'm going against the grain as much as I can, but it's tough, isn't it? And I understand it's going to be even tougher when they get to school and everybody else has got these things.
The fact that you can. It's like, if you've got enough money where you can do stuff, but you're purposely not.
You're choosing not to.
But you're choosing not to. That's hard. And it's hard for us. It's a hard lesson for us to learn.
It is, yeah, because obviously if you can't give or you can't,
we want them to be happy. And
of course. But yeah, like, I listened to a podcast the other day, and I agreed one about fostering child capabilities, and it was talking about how these lessons start as kids, because every time you do something for your child that they could really do themselves, you're taking away their capability. So then when they're adults, they then become like not capable of like confrontation, because the mums always fix things for them, and then they get to the workplace and they're like, well, I don't like the way that person's just done that to me, but I can't handle it because my mum's handled everything for me. Do you know what I mean?
Sense. would like to keep an element of fun as well.
Yeah, of course.
But even just with me,
yeah,
like even when I'm having like harder days in the business, like as an adult. So I take Harry to football on a Saturday morning.
yeah,
And if I'm honest, he likes the first part of it, and then towards the end he kind of tails off. And once he down tools, he'll just be like, done
yeah,
now. So sometimes he'll come and hang off me like towards the end of the session,
Yeah.
and I'm like, don't push him or anything. But I take a lot of lessons from that, because when the kids, they run around, it is like bees around a honey pot.
Yeah.
There's no like lesson. It's football, but it's not
yeah,
a match of football. And I see them all running around, and they're not judging themselves, and they're having fun.
Yeah.
And they're kicking the ball around, and they're laughing and screaming, and coaches having fun with them and all that. But as you get a bit older, you kind of lose that sense of like fun.
Yeah, you do,
don't you? You think I'm going to get judged like by this or that, or I'm not living up to my own expectations.
Yeah.
And I want this thing to be perfect, and it's not perfect. Or I'm seeing Emma Green do a great podcast, but I want to do an even better podcast. I can't do it unless it's that good. And it's like you kind of lose that element of fun. So I always keep having in my mind to like, no matter how serious things get and how big it gets and how so much stress I take on myself. And I always think I'm quite stressed ultimately, really, but it's one of them where I always try and keep the elements of fun in the business.
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? Yeah. Like,
and even if I take people on, I'd be like, "Are you gonna have a laugh with us? Are you gonna?"
Yeah, like you've got to not take yourself too seriously.
That's why I like you and Sophie. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
Like, that's why I like you and Sophie, because I just give that vibe of fun.
We laugh so much. Yeah. It's just a nice atmosphere, like a nice. Obviously, it's quite taxing, like mentally what we do. It's ultimately we spend all day solving problems and dealing with conflict, and sometimes by an evening I think I just don't want to talk to anybody because I've spoke all day and I've been trying to figure out other people's problems. But we do laugh, like we have like such a fun. We laugh about everything that happens.
Probably makes it so much better, right?
Yeah, it does.
Amazing. So 2026. So 2025 was eventful, but 2026, what's the big idea for this year?
The big idea is to grow, and this year we really want to do that. We want to deliver that service that is better than other HR consultancies, and we want people to feel that they need Lauren or Sophie in the room to handle things, and it's going to be our year.
Love it. So if me and you done a podcast at the start of last year, we're doing one at the start of this year. If we're sitting here in a year's time, what would you want to be telling me?
I probably would like to be telling you that we have grown by the figure that I'd mentioned to you before, taken on 1 or 2 new advisors, and become an expert in our space, which we are, but probably a bit more of an outward one. Like, I think I've tried to avoid the face of the business for a while. I was quite happy just being in the background. But I think this year we want to be a bit more visible.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So if someone does want that HR advice or might have an issue in the business, what's the best place for them to contact?
Either LinkedIn or our website, which is www.smoothhr.co.uk.
Perfect. I think we've covered everything that I wanted to cover. If we haven't, I'm sure there'll be more time.
Yeah, there will.
Stuff. I'm sure Carmel will be on it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Carmel, by the way.
And we could put the world to rights all day, couldn't we? We definitely could.
Yeah, 100%. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you then to the new concept room. And watch out for the podcast because it'll be out soon.
Thank you.
Peace.